welcome back to a special episode of the BJack 70 Show. I'm your host, Brandon Jackson, and this is a mailbag episode to celebrate hitting 50 subscribers on the YouTube channel. I want to say, thank you to everybody subscribed. Thank you to everybody watching. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe. Go ahead and hit the like button. And I say it every video, not just to say it because all the other YouTubers say it, but it's because it really does help. It really does help, get the podcast, get the channel on the algorithm, make it look more favorable on the algorithm. More people see it, more people like it, more people subscribe to it when you do it. So go ahead and do that for your boy. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it over here. So I would appreciate it for everybody that's watching that's already subscribed, that's part of that 50 plus already. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for all the support. I've gotten so much love over the past couple months in person, on the internet, in my comments, in my text messages. Um, I appreciate it all. I appreciate it all. We're gonna keep going. This is only the beginning. It's at this point it's still been less than a year of the podcast, of the channel. So just want to take the time to stop, smell the roses, appreciate what we had, appreciate what we have, and look forward to what is coming, because big things are coming. I know it. If you're here, you know it, you're a part of it. And yeah, just want to say thank you to everybody who's watching, has watched, and will watch in the future when you come back and look at this one. So just wanted to say that at the beginning, but we'll get into a mailbag. I got 5 questions. Got 5 questions, really good questions that I gathered up that I'll answer here. Try to do some some pretty good in-depth answers for you, make it a little bit entertaining for you. So we'll go ahead and get into that. So my first question comes from my brother Eric, and the question is: by the end of the season, who will be the Browns quarterback? Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson? Shedeur Sanders. Next question. Um, huh, huh. It should be Shedeur Sanders. It it better be Shedeur Sanders. And I say that because, before the season started, I did think there was a good chance of Deshaun Watson getting another chance to play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Um, but as I sit here today, after the Las Vegas Raiders game, but before the San Francisco 49ers game, I think the vibes are way too high for this football team to bring back Deshaun Watson. When he got injured last year, Cleveland Browns Stadium erupted in fanfare. They loved it. They couldn't have been happier that he tore his Achilles. Now, as somebody that has torn their Achilles, I can't imagine what that must have felt like. Because it was shitty to tear your Achilles, by itself, but to have 50,000 people cheering on your demise, crazy, un diabolical behavior. Um, that being said, before that happened, this was the worst looking offense that we've almost ever seen, and I say almost because there's a team out there that employs JJ McCarthy and he throws real NFL passes for them, and This team has also had Dylan Gabriel throwing passes for them. So I won't say it was the worst, but it was one of the worst that we've ever seen. And right now, in this moment, the vibes are too high. Shedeur Sanders is a beacon of hope for the football fans in this city, the players on this football team, and we'll get into this a little bit more later, but maybe even a beacon of hope for Kevin Stefanski, even if the whole world thinks that he hates him. So, long story short, Shedeur Sanders will finish the season as the starting quarterback, barring injury or barring catastrophic failure. If it's failure, just regular, good old regular failure, I think he'll finish the year and they wouldn't go back to Dylan. Um, but if it's like catastrophic, they might go back they might go back to Dylan. But either case, I don't think they go back to Deshaun in 2025. So appreciate the question, my guy. Appreciate it. The second question that I have is more of a statement, admittedly, but we'll accept it. It is tell us more, or tell us about your time in Morgantown. And before I say, I could just say who gave me that question, but it's easier if I just show you who gave me that question. So here it is.
Thing. That's all it is. Sun's out today. It's a good day for football. Play action and picked off. Headed back to the house. And what a pick six that time. It was Chestnut who forced the fumble. A pick six of 32 yards. Another turnover. Yeah.
My guy Terrell Chestnut, he gave me that question, that statement, forced me to talk about my time at West Virginia, playing football for West Virginia University. Um, and I'm a shout out my guy one more time. I got another highlight for you because this is my man's right here. So I gotta every time I get a chance to say who my dude was, who was one of my best friends at West Virginia. This I gotta take the chance to do it.
First down throw for Boykin, and the catch is made finally. Dodson loses the ball, picked up. A scoop and score by Terrell Chestnut. If he gets a block, yes.
Boykin play actions, drops, wants to throw, right sideline, ball is caught. First down, the ball came loose and recovered by Terrell Chestnut down the sideline. He's at the 10 to the 5, heading to the end zone. Chestnut is in, touchdown, West Virginia. Terrell Chestnut picked up the fumble and went down the left sideline. Josh Doxson caught the ball.
So that's who sent me that question. Send me that statement. Talk about the time in Morgantown. Well, I will. It was a great time. Great place. I say this a lot. Because a lot of kids that are from Ohio, football players or not, go to West Virginia, end up going to West Virginia. So I say all the time, it's a great place to go to college. Great place to spend 4 or 5 years. Great place to spend, if you're going to school, maybe even more than 4 or 5 years, maybe significantly more. Shout out my guy Mike Barno, fellow West Virginia alum. But it's really a special place. If you don't know much about West Virginia University, you might be surprised to figure out, like, to find out that, like, the amount of students that they get from states that aren't West Virginia. Like, there's a significant number of students that go there from Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, whole DMV area, obviously West Virginia. Um, and that's the student body in athletics and on the football team. I had a chance to play with guys from all over the country. So I'm playing with guys like from those states I just listed. Obviously, like Ohio football is great, Pennsylvania football is great, New Jersey football is great. We had some New York guys, um, had some Virginia guys. I've like had DC, Maryland, uh, and then even West Virginia like has had a stronghold in Miami. Everybody from Miami that plays football can't go to one of the Florida schools. So, West Virginia picks up some slack there. There's a lot of, when Dana Holgerson was head coach, a lot of Texas guys, um, really guys from all over the country, and I appreciate that a lot because just like even in small sample sizes, just having guys from all types of different places like Tennessee and Kentucky, and had a roommate from Chicago. Shout out to my guy Ben Tomasek. Um, we like they're like you get to know a lot of different personality types, a lot of different cultures, a lot of different slang. Um, a whole lot of slang. There's a lot of slang that I still use to this day that I ever would have used or heard or known about if I wasn't good friends with people from Florida. Um, and they basically have their own language down there, but um, that was a big part of it. That was a big part of the experience. And a lot of people will tell you, a lot of athletes, a lot of football players will tell you football is a year-round sport, but the best memories that I have and a lot of people have don't involve football. Like I'm thinking about the times when we're on campus in the summer and it's me, Terrell Chestnut to ask the question, Isaiah Bruce, Darian Howard, Ricky Rogers. We're all in the apartment like on different TVs in the same living room like with our own Xbox playing GTA 5 online. That's you know like those are our experiences like in in that same summer like going like getting off the Xbox and going to the table and playing spades. Like that those experiences like those will sit with me forever. Like speaking of that group, like just that even that same summer again, going out on on the night of July 4th, 2015. Um Again, if you know, um hopefully hopefully we'll go past that, um but yeah, those memories are ones I hold dear to my heart. And even if you take it back to football, I played I played with so many NFL guys, and I'm very grateful for that because what I'm doing now is talking about pro football all the time and being around them, watching them how they work, what their attitudes were, like what kind of people they were, what kind of athletes they were on the field, on the field on game day, on the field at practice, on the field doing mat drills and in the weight room, knowing that, seeing that, being a part of something like that allows me to get on here on this podcast with credibility. And that's something I appreciate, and that's something I do not take for granted. You know, if you're watching these videos, you can see in the background of all these videos that jersey up there. And you know, there was not a lot of Brandon Jackson in the box score at West Virginia. But I would like to think that I I had impacted a lot of different people, whether it was, you know, just trying to be a good teammate. Um, and I feel like I was. I feel like I was. I feel like I given given the circumstances of who I was when I was that age, I feel like I contributed the most that I could have contributed. And I don't have to get into the whole details at this point on this particular episode of the podcast, but I think with what I had, I think I did what I could do. Um and you know, at some point I'm going to have guests on this channel, and Terrell will be one of those guests, and we can discuss, we can go through, we can talk about. He'll talk. I'll talk about him a lot, and he'll probably tell you about me better than I can tell you about myself. Um, but yeah, overall positive experience. Met guys, you know, I'm very happy to have met, have played with, have, you know, shared homes with, broke bread with, um, and people I'm honored to have called my teammates and call my friends. So that's me telling everybody about my time in Morgantown and our time in Morgantown, Terrell. So thank you, my dog. Appreciate that question. Thank you. All right, next question comes from my dad, and it is: will the Browns use 2026 first round picks on wide receiver and offensive line? And again, as I sit here recording after the Las Vegas Raiders game, before the San Francisco 49ers game, I'm going to say, before I get into the answer, that well, it still is going to take a great performance, great end of the season performance, like throughout these last few games from Shedeur Sanders, to not have the Cleveland Browns take a quarterback in the first round. And he's going to have to be basically excellent for them to make that decision. And not only is he going to just have to, you know, eye test wise, box score wise, he's going to have to make sure the Cleveland Browns win these games to take them out of range for a quarterback. Because if he looks good, if the box score looks good, the stats look good, looks good on film, it, you know, it still might not matter, because if they're in range to take one of these quarterbacks, you know, a Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, a Ty Simpson, if they're in range to take one of these quarterbacks, they're probably going to do it. And I don't want it to be the reality because I'm one of Shedeur Sanders' biggest fans on the platform, but I am realistic. It would take him moving heaven and earth in order for them to not take a quarterback. Um, if if they're still in range. Now, if they're out of range, like if they somehow like reel off like 4 or 5 wins to end the year and end up 7-10 or something of the sort like that where they're not picking in the top 10, at that point, at that point, yes, I would agree and say that the Browns try to use those picks on wide receiver, offensive line. Um, and if we did want to use them on receiver, we got to be looking at Carnell Tate. We got to be looking at Makai Lemon from USC. Got to be looking at Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. Um, those are the guys in that first round range. And to be honest, depending on where that pick falls, that Cleveland Browns pick falls, it would if it's not in range for a quarterback, it might be too late for Carnell Tate, might be too late for Tyson. Um so like if it's not top 10, like those two guys might go in that range, like Carnell Tate probably more than Jordan Tyson will. Um but yeah, I would say that should be their first look with their own pick, which will most likely be better than the Jaguars pick. The Jaguars pick, given what the offensive line prospects look like in the 2026 draft, the Jaguars pick is probably going to be the one that you pick an offensive lineman with. You're going to want to take a tackle. Um, and according to Jordan Reed's big board on ESPN that just came out, the two tackles you're going to be looking at both play for Utah. Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu. Lomu is younger and plays left tackle, and Fano plays right tackle. Um, Either one, I think you'll be happy with. People have mentioned Francis Managoa from University of Miami. He plays right tackle right now, but people have him projected as a guard in the NFL. And if you're taking an offensive lineman that played tackle but projects as a guard on the next level, you don't necessarily want to take that guy in the teens or early 20s. I mean, you really can if you really think he's going to be that guy. Um go ahead and do it cuz who cares? But all things being equal, you really wouldn't want to have to do that. Um, but yeah, will they use those picks on wide receiver and offensive line? Like the answer is literally it depends. It depends on Shador, and it depends on what picks they actually have. Be and then it also depends on what quarterbacks come out because at this point Dante Moore isn't guaranteed to come out of school. Ty Simpson isn't guaranteed to come out of school. Fernando Mendoza probably will because he's most likely going to be that first quarterback off the board. So I don't see him going back. But the other two, this is, Dante Moore at this point has 15 starts. Ty Simpson, this is his first year starting. Um, Usually you like to see those guys get a little bit more experience under their belt before they come out, but this might be, the chance for them to go top 10 might be too good, so they might have to declare. And if that's the case, I probably like Dante more the best out of those three guys, but I also haven't watched enough to have a real opinion. I've watched some of these games, but I haven't really like dug deep into it. So to answer the question succinctly, the answer is it depends on what quarterbacks come out and what Shedeur has done and what picks the Browns actually have. But thank you, thank you, Pops, for the question. My next question is another West Virginia University football question coming from my boy Dom. I appreciate Dom because I know he's subscribed. I know he's watching the videos. He's I know he's tailing the bets. I know that he always, every time, I come out, I ask for questions to answer on the podcast. He is always one of the first ones and main ones to hit me up and drop a question. So I appreciate him. Dom, I appreciate you, dog. It's been too long. Um, but we gonna have to link up. We gonna have to, you know, I'm a I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna see you, dog. I'm gonna see you for real. Um, But getting to the question, grade for Rich Rodriguez year one, and then second part is have I liked what I've seen with Scotty Fox in November enough to ride with him next year, or should we WVU be active in the portal? Answer that one first. Scotty Fox is the guy. Is the guy. I might be a little biased because he's from Cleveland, but I think that he's shown enough to where you give him the keys. You give him the keys. Um, admittedly, I don't know like the eligibility of like all the other quarterbacks on the roster, so I don't know who's coming back, what's gonna happen. But 15, give him the keys, let him drive the car. Um, don't even bother in the portal because I think he has enough to run the offense that Rich Rod wants to run. He's a young guy. He's a freshman in 2025. He's gonna make mistakes, gonna make some bad throws, gonna have some turnovers, but you hope that he learns from it. Banks those memories and is able to go ahead and turn into an all conference and all Big 12 type guy. Whether that's next year or, even junior, senior year, you hope to see that development. And I think he has it in him. I think he has it in him. You like it could, I forgive me for comparing white quarterbacks that, have a little long hair and run the football with the same kind of attitude, comparing those together. But is he Jackson Dart light? Is he, great value Jackson Dart? He might be. He might be. I've seen him make plays with his feet on fourth down, score touchdowns to win games. I saw him against Colorado throw some deep balls and complete those passes in tight windows. We're seeing flashes. We're seeing flashes, and yeah, I think I like him as the guy to be the guy. Um, so that answers that. The first part of the question, I'll give Rich Rod, I will give him a B for this year. I think I had it pulled up. I don't remember I don't even remember the what's his record right now. What's the record right now? Yeah, 4-7. Yeah, 4-7. 4-7. 2-6 in the Big 12. 14th in the Big 12. The only worst teams are Colorado and Oklahoma State. Not great. Not great. Um, but it's first year. It's a first year, and at a program like West Virginia, a program like West Virginia is going to be difficult to turn it around in year one, coming from what we had with Neil Brown. It's gonna take a little bit of time for him to recruit, get his guys in there, and by God, I think he's doing that. If you look at the recruiting class, they have 33 commits in the upcoming recruiting class. It's ranked 32 overall in the nation and is ranked fourth in the Big 12. So I'm very encouraged by that. Um, going down the stretch, going down the stretch, they played Arizona State close. They played TCU close. They beat Houston. Those are good. Those are good teams. Those are good Big 12 teams, and it shows that that they rock with Rich Rod and that they're getting better as the season goes on. Like they lost to OU. For the uninitiated, that is Ohio University, not Oklahoma. They lost to Ohio University early in the year, and that was bad. But they turned around and beat Pitt. One of the reasons, I think the rankings just dropped. Pitt is like they're ranked in the 20s because they had multiple losses. West Virginia is one of those losses. So putting all that into perspective, I'll give him a B. I'm happy with what he's done, what I've seen, and I'm very happy with the recruiting class. It's 33 guys committed. They're guys from all over the country. There's Jersey, there's a lot of Alabama guys, there's some Texas guys, Ohio guys, a guy from my high school, Makai Boone, a DB, just had two interceptions in the playoff game, send them to the state semifinals. Um, they're getting the type of guys that West Virginia historically has won with. West Virginia is a program, get a bunch of 3-star guys, sprinkle in a couple 4 stars here and there, and develop. Get them in the weight room with Mike Joseph and develop. And, I don't know how it'll work in the transfer portal area, but if you can keep a lot of those guys in that core class, keep them in the building, keep them in the organization, in the program, and develop them, a couple years from now, we're going to be looking at a very, very good team in the Big 12, especially with the quarterback. So I'll give him a B. I think the future is bright. Um, Honestly, at this point, I'm glad it's not Neil Brown. I'm happy to have Rich Rod back. We were prominent under Rich Rod, had a lot of success under Rich Rod, so good to see him back. But it's about producing. It's about producing. Even West Virginia wants to produce because we have in the past. But um, yeah, I like what I see. I'm encouraged by what I see, and appreciate you, Dom, for the question. And my last, but certainly, most certainly not least question comes from my lovely wife, Olivia, and she asks, should the Browns fire Kevin Stefanski? And if they do, who should be the next head coach? Should they fire Kevin Stefanski? Yeah, probably. I think so. And I think so because I think it's probably time to get a new voice in there. And because, like, fans, the whole Shedeur thing, fans are getting restless. And even before Shedeur, the offense, the offense is Kevin's specialty. He's given up play calling multiple times, multiple years in a row, and the offense hasn't gotten better. Yes, the offensive line is bad. Yes, the weapons are bad. Yes, the quarterbacks have been bad. But every single week that we watch this Cleveland Browns football team play, everything on offense looks like pulling teeth. It looks like the most difficult process that you could possibly imagine every single week. And I think people, for better or for worse, are tired of seeing it. And we're tired of seeing it from, an offensive genius like Kevin Stefanski. Um, so should they? Probably. Will they? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. At this point, I feel like it's super up in the air. Um, it could go a lot of ways. It could go at the end of the year, we get a statement from Jimmy Haslam endorsing Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. We could end the season. Andrew Berry comes out saying, we love Kevin, but it's time for a different voice in the locker room. So he's been relieved of his duties. Um, it could go it could go any which way. The things I'm sure of are Jimmy Haslam will be the owner, unfortunately, and Andrew Berry will continue to be the GM. With the way that these rookies have played in the 2025 season, Dylan Gabriel notwithstanding, he has rightfully earned his his spot for another season, and potentially even more than that. We've in one draft we've gotten a super high potential interior defensive lineman in Mason Graham, a super, like, potentially super productive bell cow number one back in Quinshon Judkins, another extremely high potential in the run game and the pass game, another running back in Dylan Sampson. Um you for for what it's worth, probably, a stable, steady backup quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, potentially potentially a guy that could be a quarterback for you in the future in Shedeur Sanders. Potentially. Potentially. Still early. We don't know. We hope, but we don't know. And I saved the best for last because they took in the second round the goddamn best linebacker in football already, Captain America, Carson Schweschinger. I can't believe this is my life that we seemingly lose JOK. I'm going to assume that JOK doesn't play football again, and if that's what's best for him and his health, that's I want that. I don't want him to do anything that will endanger him, potentially in the future. So, with that being said, to go from having him and then not having him to getting Carson Swessinger. Great transition. Amazing transition. Um, God willing, that man is a Brown for the next 15 years and we retire his number. God willing. We retire his number right after we retire Miles Garrett's number. Like I'm hoping that that's what we have in that guy. And so far the early returns are he's at least going to be a Pro Bowl player. Damn near could be an all pro this year, but we'll see how that goes. Um so Andrew Berry's not going anywhere. Kevin Stefanski, another answer that the answer is it depends. It depends on what Shedeur looks like. It depends on what Jimmy Haslam thinks. We don't have answers to those questions today. Um so the answer to will they fire him? Don't know. Literally don't know. I wish I had a better answer, but we don't know. Should they? I'm going to say probably. And who should be the next coach? People are going to yell at me. People that watch this are going to yell at me, but it should be Robert Saleh. I'm going to pause for the yelling. Robert Saleh is the current defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see him up close and personal this Sunday. He has that defense playing great football, and they've lost basically all of their best players on defense. And, it's not only that he's doing well this year, even though he went to the Jets and flamed out as the head coach of the New York Jets, I don't think that was necessarily all on him. I think he's a really good coach. I know he's a really good defensive coordinator. So I know like schematically that defense could get even better with Robert Saleh. A lot of people, if they got rid of Kevin, they want the new head coach to retain Jim Schwartz because his defense has been so good and rightfully so. I'm not mad at people that feel that way. Um but I'm just like looking at the list of candidates who like the hot names that are out there right now, most of them are defensive guys because I don't want to retain Jim Schwartz and bring Joe Brady in here. Like, yes, Joe Brady will, coach Joe Burrow at LSU, and yes, he coaches Josh Allen right now. It's not enough. It's not enough for me. Joe Brady is not enough. I want to see him do something else. Like respectfully, and I could very well be proven wrong. Joe Brady could be a guy that in this next coaching cycle gets a head coaching job somewhere. And immediately proves me wrong, and like I'll be happy to say I was wrong. But for this team, I don't think I want Joe Brady. I want like usually when you fire a coach, you kind of want to go in the opposite direction of what your coach was that you fired. And Kevin is an offensive guy. Kevin is the guy that doesn't show much emotion. Robert Saleh is the opposite of that. Defensive guy shows a hell of a lot of emotion. A hell of a lot of the time he was on the sideline, good plays happening, and there's a famous clip He tries to jump up into Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was not having it. Was not having it. So, like I said, he was the head coach of the Jets, but I don't think I know this is rich coming from a Browns fan, but the New York Jets are a pretty bad organization as well, with a meddling owner as well, and they had to deal with like menopausal Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry if that's offensive, but I feel like that is a good way to explain what Aaron Rodgers was going through with the New York Jets. Um, I really think he's a good coach, and he's going to get another shot based off of I think the league knowing what he had to go through, the league knowing and seeing what he's doing in San Francisco again right now. Um, I think he gets another shot because the way his team, the way his unit has performed this year is too good for him to not get another look. And if we do get rid of Stefanski, I hope that number one look is with us. If you hate that option, um, like I said, most of these candidates that I think would be good for us are defensive guys. Um, Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator for the Rams. Rams defense is going crazy. Look what they're doing in LA with that defensive line. Imagine what he could do with Miles Garrett, Mason Graham, and the boys. Um, you're looking at Jesse Minter from the Chargers. I know a lot of Ohio State fans, wouldn't like that. Um, but Duke can coach. Duke can coach football. Duke can coach defense. Is he a head coach? I don't know. But, if he wants to find out, I wouldn't hate it. And last one, Kelvin Shepard, defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. Um he's this is his first year as a defense coordinator, calling plays, and you can see like when you watch the Lions play, those guys love him. Those guys will run through a wall for him. And you want to talk about showing emotion. That is a guy that is going to show emotion for you when you make plays. Um, and I think football players really love to see that out of their leader. Um, but I think he's the guy that's going to be really next up on like these head coaching lists because he's done such a good job this season. Um, Granted, it could be early for him. He's a black DC. Um, we know how that goes, so it could be potentially too early for him. Seeing as this is his first year as DC, first year calling plays, so see how that goes. Um, but yeah, I think all the real head coaching candidates for the Browns, if they were to get rid of Stefanski, are are defensive guys. The one offensive guy I thought about was Josh McCown, but I want to see him call plays first before he gets a head coaching job. He's in Minnesota right now. Kevin O'Connell's calling the plays. Josh McCown is working with quarterbacks, doing his thing, and he will be a head coach eventually in this league. But I still think it's too early for Josh McCown. But I appreciate that question. Thank you. Um, so that's it. That's the mailbag episode. Bit of a longer episode, but I gotta give the people what they want. I gotta answer the people's questions when they ask it. So that was fun. I had fun. I hope you guys had fun watching. Thank everybody that gave me a question to answer. Appreciate everybody that's watching. Appreciate everybody that's subscribed. That's why we're here today. Everybody that's subscribed, thank you. Everybody that will subscribe in the future, thank you. I appreciate you. If, somehow you're watching this and you aren't subscribed, go ahead and do it now. Just hit that button. Just, go find the subscribe button and click it. If you're on your phone, press it. If you're on your smart TV, find it on the remote, go down, click subscribe. If you're on your laptop, click subscribe. That's all. That's all I need you to do. It'll help me out, help get the channel bigger, better, faster. I want my channel to be able to run a 4.2 at the combine. You know, you'll help out with that. So now it's late. I'm rambling. Time for me to go to bed. But again, thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Thank you for all the support so far, and thank you for the support in the future. And with that being said, I'm out of here.